Okay guys, in this video we want to take what we've kind of been talking about, and we've been talking about linear equations, and we want to take that and we just want to extend it a little bit. We're going to extend that by talking about systems of linear equations. So the first thing is, what is a system of linear equations? All it is when you have more than one equation. So it's a collection of more than one linear equations. Here we've got two equations, so that would constitute a system. It's just more than one. So hopefully we've talked about this enough to where we can look at these two equations and we kind of know what they look like. This thing's got a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 1 also. And then this guy here has a slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 3. So we can kind of picture, hopefully on a graph, what these things look like. And that's the next thing that we're going to talk about, is graphing these. Alright, so we've got these two equations. We want to go ahead and graph them. We know that there's a couple different ways that we can graph them. We can either find the intercepts, plot those points, and then connect those dots to form our line. Or, if you notice, if you look at this, we've got these things are in y equals mx plus b form, meaning that we can go directly and take the slope and the intercept and graph it that way. So, like we just said, this has a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 1, so I'm going to go ahead and graph this one in red. So if we look at the graph of this system here, I want to first plot my y-intercept, so I know my y-intercept is found by going up 1 on the graph. So there's my y-intercept, 0, 1. And then my slope just tells me to go from there, go up 1 and over 1. There's another point, up 1 and over 1. There's another point, and I can now plot my line accordingly. And my line's going to look something like that. So we know it extends in each direction infinitely. So there's my first line. My second line, well, same deal. I want to find the intercept. The intercept is 3, so I go up 3. 0, 3 is the y-intercept. And this slope tells me to go down 2 over 1. So down 2 over 1 gives me a point right there. Down 2 over 1 is another point. And I can plot my line again. So this line's going to look something like that. And there are my two lines. So again, a system of equations, all it is really is two equations, and these happen to be linear, these happen to be lines. So it's just two lines. When we look at this graph, the thing that we're really interested in this graph is this point right here, this point of intersection. And so you see we've graphed our two lines, they cross at a particular point, and that's the point that we're really interested in finding. So when we find that point, we can graph these things, and when we find that point of intersection, that's actually the solution to our system here. The point of intersection gives us our solution. So if we're given these two equations and we want to figure out what x and y is, we've got two different relationships that are established by these two different lines. We want to figure out what x and y is. Well, x and y is given by that point where they intersect. So ultimately, if we're asked to find where the solution to this thing is, well, we've got to estimate a little bit because we don't know the exact point where those two intersect, but it looks like it's about 3/4. About 3/4, and y, we go up 1 and about 3/4, and it gives us 1 and 3/4. So what we're really interested in doing is when we have one of these systems of equations, we're interested in finding where these things intersect, and that gives us our solution to the system. In other words, it allows us to find what x and y are. So one last quick example just to show you how this works. We want to solve the system. And again, what that means is find the intersection. Find where these two lines are going to intersect. So your solution should look like x equals this and y equals something else. So we go ahead and we graph the lines. We know that this has a y-intercept of -6, so we go over to our graph. There's 0, -6, and it goes up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. So that line is going to look something like this. And the second one here, y-intercept of 0, 3. From that number, and this tells me the slope tells me to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. My line looks like this. So if we want to solve this system by graphing, what we want to know is where do these two lines intersect? We can see on our graph that this is the point where they intersect. That point is 3, 0. So my solution looks like x equals 3 and y equals 0.